Hi, I'm Bridger, the band specialist at Booth Music. Today we're going to be talking about reeds and how to properly store them so that they don't get warped and that they last longer. So in order for reeds to properly work, they need to stay at a certain humidity. That's because reeds are made out of cane and they have these little pores that absorb water as we're playing them, and then they release the water as we're not playing them and they dry out. Reeds need to be somewhere in the 70s of humidity, somewhere like 72%. And thankfully, there are two-way humidity packs that look something like this that you can store with your reeds, and using some special wizardry and probably a little bit of science, they will keep the humidity of the container at whatever percentage that it says it will. So if the reed has more humidity, if the reed is at like 100% humidity, you just were playing it, you were sucking on it, then the humidity will leave the reed and it will go into the pack. And if the reed gets too dry, if it's something like 50 or 60%, then humidity will leave the pack and get the reed to be at that humidity. It's important to keep your reeds at the correct humidity because reeds will warp as they dry if you don't. Reeds can warp a couple different ways. They can warp at the tip like this, and if it's warped like this, then the air will hit at the different angles inconsistently, and it'll just be harder to play. It might cause some more squeaks, and it'll give a worse tone overall. A reed can also, it has this flat part here that can warp in, and that will cause back pressure as you're playing, which will make it harder to play and less fun to play, or it can warp out. And this will cause it so that it doesn't sit perfectly flat on the mouthpiece, also causing back pressure, making it harder to play, and just causing more resistance overall. How do you solve this problem? How do you properly store your reed? You're going to need a container that keeps the humidity in, and then you're going to need one of those humidity packs. So you can get something just as simple as one of these. This is just a reed humidity pack that stores your reeds, and then it keeps one of those humidity packs in the bottom here. They're very convenient. They store up to 8 reeds at a time. Or you can get one of these humidity packs and throw it in a really well-sealed Tupperware, and then just throw your reeds in there as well. I personally like the convenience of these small packs. They store plenty of reeds and they work perfectly well at keeping the reeds at the perfect humidity level. I use those for my saxophone reeds, but I also have the Tupperware for my clarinet reeds just because I store a lot of reeds in there. Either will work, but I would suggest the black case just because it does seal well enough to work, and you don't have to worry about a Tupperware not sealing all the way and letting the humidity out. Another thing to mention is that even if you are storing your reeds the proper way, they will still change over time. They will still warp a little bit, but the humidity pack will just make it happen a lot slower and a lot less, and so it will be easier to save your reed if it does warp in the future. And the way to save your reed is by using some reed working tools, something like the Reed Geek or like a reed knife. We'll do another video in the future on the Reed Geek and how to work on your reeds, because it does make your reeds last longer and it is a useful tool. As a recap, it's important to keep your reeds at around 72% humidity. It will make them last longer, and overall it'll give you a better experience playing. There will be links below this video to these two products. Again, I would just recommend using both of these. They're easy to use, they work just fine, and it will give you an overall better experience. Thank you for watching today, and until next time, have a wonderful day.